In this short video, we're going to talk about the origins of language. Linguists, by examining the commonalities across numerous languages, can begin to reconstruct the common proto-languages from which they're derived. This, and knowledge of human migration and language evolution, tells them that human languages existed long before prehistory. We know that human beings have been using languages for long before the traces of the first writing systems provides physical evidence. We know very little about how or when languages first emerged. Yule identifies 6 general theories of the origins of language. As I identify and discuss each in turn, try to decide which of the theories about the origin of language you find most convincing and why that is, and which ones you find least convincing and why. Those 6 general theories are the divine source, the natural sound source, the social interaction source, the physical adaptation source, the tool-making source, and the genetic source. I will take a little bit of time explaining each one in turn. First, the divine source. Many diverse religions speak of divine origins of language or aspects of language. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, Adam was born with the capacity for language, naming all things in the Garden of Eden. The story of the Tower of Babel has God interrupting the building of the tower by causing them to speak different tongues, resulting in the various languages of the world. The Gospel of John begins, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." In Egyptian mythology, the god Thoth is the inventor of writing. In Norse mythology, Odin hung himself upside down from the branch of Yggdrasil, the tree of life, having pierced his side with a spear, and then he stared at the water below until he could learn the secret of writing with the runes. What is it about language and/or writing that leads so many diverse peoples to tell tales of divine origins? Now, as for the natural sound source, this is another theory for the source of language, which sees humans beginning to imitate the sounds they heard around them, and then using those sounds to refer to the things. So they imitate the sound of a dog or a crow, bow wow or caw caw, and then they refer to dogs as bow wows and crows as caw caws. And through this kind of displacement that occurs when a sound is used to refer to something that's not there, the capacity for language begins to emerge. Many languages have plentiful examples of onomatopoeic words that are similar to the noises they describe, such as splish-splash or thunk or tick-tock, or many of the sounds that we say animals make, chirp-chirp and bow-wow. So a similar theory is that language emerged from the sounds we use to express emotion. Words like ouch or ow. Yule points out that these sounds are usually made with intakes of breath, though, where most languages rely on exhaling breath to make sounds. He concludes that it's unlikely that sounds like ouch or ow became one of the sources of language. What do you think? Could onomatopoeic words be tied to the origin of language? Could we have started by imitating the sounds in the environment around us? The social interaction source suggests that language emerged from the needs of humans working together in social contexts. Humans hunting, cooking, building use sounds to communicate their needs to each other. One strength of this theory is that it places the origin of language in the context of its use. Language is profoundly social. Why should its origin not also be social? The emergence of Nicaraguan Sign Language among deaf children who had not developed linguistic skills provides support for this. These children, having not developed their language capacities, when put together, soon developed a sign language among themselves. Human beings, when placed in community, will develop language. Shukla and Connor-Linton point out that the ability to use language would provide a selective advantage that could account for the rapid spread of language. Food gatherers who share information about food, the location of food sources, would have been very popular, they say, as would hunters who could plan and supervise successful hunts. The physical adaptation source points to the physical capabilities humans have for language, that our mouths, tongues, and larynxes are shaped in certain ways, allow us to make a wider range of sound through forming more intricate closures and blockages. The physical adaptation source suggests that humans have language because they're capable of it. We have a mouth that gives us so many options linguistically. The potential to make these sounds gave us advantages, which encouraged these evolutionary changes. Human beings are animals that think and plan and coordinate. We intend things and we strategize on how to get them. We have developed the ability to use tools, of which language is one. The tool-making source theory draws upon the connection between manipulating objects and manipulating sounds. The theory has it that as humans developed the capacity to use tools, the human brain developed cognitive capacities that supported language development. Many cognitive skills required for language use, thoughtful planning, a level of abstraction, are also required for tool use. The advantages provided to humans by both tool use and language could account for the spread of Homo sapiens around the world and possibly account for the disappearance of their Neanderthal competitors. Many animals have some level of communicative capacity. Birds have mating calls. Bees can direct other bees to food sources. Dolphins seem to identify each other through a series of squeaks and pops that become a name for that particular individual dolphin. Chimpanzees can learn signs to ask for what they want, although not with any evidence of grammatical development. Shukla and Connor Linton write, even Noam Chomsky recently argued that animals' brains have many of the components of language, but that somehow, perhaps by mutation, only human brains link these components all together. Geneticists have examined hereditary language disorders and have begun to find evidence that mutation of a single gene can drastically hinder language development. So, to summarize the different theories on the origins of language, the divine source, the idea that a higher power did it. The natural sound source, we just copied the sounds around us. The social interaction source, working together we learned to make sounds to guide us in our work. The physical adaptation source, we have a mouth that gives us so many potential options linguistically, we just learnt to use them. The tool-making source, human beings are animals that plan and coordinate. We intend things and we strategize on how to get them, and we have developed the ability to use tools. Language is one of those tools. And the genetic source, human beings have the capacity for language. That provides an advantage, that this capacity is innate. So Chomsky claims that language is specific to humans, that only humans have this language faculty. Now, you may have seen sign language using apes before. Chomsky commented on the idea that you could teach apes to talk. He said, apes do have their own form of communication, but it doesn't resemble language in any way. He said bees communicate by waggling their tails at other bees and doing this little bee dance. And he said if you taught a room full of graduate students to waggle their bums while circling the room and communicate distance and direction by wiggling the bums in certain ways, it doesn't mean that you've taught them to talk. They already had a way of communicating. In fact, what these graduate students would be able to communicate in this way would be relatively little compared to what they could already communicate. He said the same thing applies to the different animals that have been taught to use sign language. In other words, Coco would have been doing fine at communicating before we taught her to talk, but is applauded for communicating in this impoverished way. So, which of the above theories about the origin of language do you find the most convincing? Why? Which do you find least convincing? And why?
Bang, bark, beep, boing, bonk, boom, bow, wow, burp, buzz, but cackle, caw, cheep, chirp, clang, clank, cluck, coo, cough, crackle, creak, crunch, cuckoo, ding, ding, dong, grip, fizz, fizzle, gasp, giggle, glug, gulp, glup, gobble, groan, growl, grunt, hee-haw, hiccup, hiss, honk, hoo, hoot, hush, jangle, jingle, kaboom, kerplunk, knock, knock, meow, murmur, mutter, neigh, oink, pant, pew, pitter-patter, plop, poof, pop, pow, purr, quack, ring, rip, roar, rumble, rush, rustle, screech, shush, slap, slurp, smack, smash, snap, snarl, sniff, snore, snuffle, splash, splat, squawk, squeak, squish, thud, thump, thwack, tick-tock, tinkle, tweet, twinkle, whack, wallop, wham, whisper, whiz, yawn, yelp, yowl, yowl, zap, zing, zip, zoom.